Life is not a tempest, nor is it a midsummer dream. Enjoy life, cherish life, respect life, live for the moment. Otherwise, life will remain history. Welcome all of you to the body and the mind. Welcome all of you to the body and the mind. Welcome, Sanjeev ji.
Welcome.
Well, talking about yoga, I'd like to divert the perspective to the diseases of mankind or Homo sapiens. Well, talking about mankind or species around the world have different life cycles, but here we're not going to the life cycle segment. But when you talk about the cycle of diseases for a man, you have a person who has never had a disease. Of course, he would have had a disease, but not major diseases. Or a person is prone to a disease. Or imagine a person who's having a disease and the disease is being continuing for a long time. Or a person who's already had a disease and he's recovered from the disease. So you have three segments. What is the role of yoga and how can yoga help in these three segments? And I would pertain to something called depression.
Yeah, it's a very good question. In fact, first of all, I think I should say, how can yoga help unto the source of the diseases? Today, if you observe, generally, we do not take care of our health, as we all know. Yeah, we don't take care of our health. See, day in and day out, we are on the rush for our, I can say, food, shelter and clothing, the main issues. And also in this present situation, what is happening is, from morning till night, we are all running around, forgetting our health. We go on to finish our job, something. And there are always pressures from different dimensions. For example, job pressure will be there. Family pressures will be there. Being like in a place like Dubai, guest pressures will be there. Guest comes most of the time. All these things will be there. And you have to take them there, here. So many other things comes up. So in other words, we generally ignore our health. We ignore our health. We stretch ourselves. Every day, but today I can't do my exercise. Today it's a very hectic schedule. I have to go to airport. Like every day there is some postponement that happens. And once this happens, you stretch and stretch and stretch. Guest is coming, office work is there, meetings are there. So you are stretching yourself to such a great extent, you realize only when you are on the stretcher. That time you find you're already too much stretched. Then it becomes a crisis management. You're already in a crisis at the time. There you will be sometimes managed or sometimes mismanaged. The person or the individual has already lost his control over his health. That's the last stage which we can all get into. But this is exactly what is happening in the modern world. That's why you can see hospitals are more. So much of development on the other side happens because on the opposite side you can see people are totally ignorant about health. When I am totally ignorant about health, I run for every other thing without thinking about myself, thinking only on the other side of it. So there you are landing up in a deep trouble. So crisis management is the only solution. And crisis management, for example, modern medical science is there. It's a blessing for us because we are ignorant, we don't have time. So what happens is, they manage us in the best possible way, all the best of developments, everything is there in scientific research and medical research. So our health is taken care. But if you see, we human beings are made up of a bio-organic magnetic system. But the medicines that we generally get is all synthetic compounds. So whenever we take these for our health issues, when we are in crisis, you can see people land up with more problems for the kidney, the liver. So then you add on adding other vitamins and supplements to combine it. But ultimately the organic system goes into problems.
The complete cure is not there.
It can treat the symptoms of the disease. Like it can treat all the symptoms. But complete cure doesn't happen because we do not go to the source of the disease. And these medicines, synthetic chemicals, it has an impact on the system. That's why if you see all the major ailments that today the modern world is suffering, if you see, one is, let us say, diabetic. Diabetic can come because of people's lack of knowledge on how much sugar to eat, chocolates to eat, Some functions are there, you gobble up all the sweets. And the sugar content becomes so much in the body that your body is not able to maintain the insulin content that secretes from them.
It's not enough.
The other is diabetes due to stress. It's not that the pancreas can't secrete it, but you're always in an emergency mode. Being in an emergency mode, your pancreas has two jobs, One is the normal way of functioning. It helps to secrete the insulin. The other is, when you're in an emergency mode, it stops its function. It goes to trigger the adrenal glands above the kidneys to send the glycogen to all parts of the body. It's like, the secretary has two jobs. When the managing director is in the normal mode of functioning, she does all the normal work. He's on an emergency, he has to reach. She leaves all these things aside. She is totally supporting him on the emergency work. So all normal work becomes pending. Here, whenever you are in emergency mode, today what happens is, the pancreas goes to tickle the adrenal glands and sends. So this fight and flight mechanism is so dominant today. Pancreas does not get finally to secrete the insulin. So you land up with the second type of diabetes due to stress. Yeah. So it lands up with the second type of diabetes due to stress, So today modern world is suffering because mostly of the second type of diabetic, stress related. So if you have the knowledge on how to tackle, you can overcome. You can overcome. For example, diabetic, I like sweets. But when doctors suddenly say, stop it, it's like a bolt from the blue, I can't eat. So you have to now control your sweets. Now, you're a person who is weak in mind, who can't control. Then wife has to control you. Hey, you don't eat this, don't eat that. It becomes a real disturbance. Even when you go out, she doesn't give anything for you in your house. Very strict. So, given a chance, you go to a relative's house. All sweets are spread and she's talking to her friends. The sweet is there. Sometimes hand can go and you may take.
Tendencies.
And we will eat also. That is secondary. When it comes, they say, I'll take a tablet, we may think. That is control. But if you decide, for example, I will not eat because of my health issue, you are managing yourself. So yoga basically deals with management of the problem rather than the weaknesses of the mind operating by controlling it. Control is weakness. I want to do, I can't do. It's a weakness. The other is I don't want it. That's strength. So let us say a psychosomatic disease like diabetic. There's no cure in modern medicines today. We can give you tablets, more and more tablets. Finally, you land up with insulin. That's the solution. If you take for blood pressure, you add on again tablets. You take for asthma, finally we land up with steroids. You take for depression, you add on more and more tablets. The subject which you just wanted to highlight. All these psychosomatic basically are problems that we create. And there is no solutions. They can treat it and maintain the disease.
Just keep carrying on and on.
Carrying on the disease, yeah. So this is how it can operate when you are landed up in a crisis. You take the second form of treatments that we have today. Ayurveda is very common now and it's gaining more and more popularity. It's very good because all the compounds basically used is organic in compound. When it's organic in compound, being a bioorganic system, it suits the body to a great extent. Everything it helps. And it has so much years of history. Just started in India itself. So, but there, if you directly ask, is there a treatment for diabetic, we again have to relate to food. There's no direct treatment. Okay. They can balance the vata, pitta, kapha imbalances that can happen. The acidic, gaseous and alkali content because of our food pattern, our sleep. So fantastic guidelines can be given and it helps to a great extent. But directly, is there a cure for depression, if you ask? Yes, there also we do not have a direct treatment. We can have them, giving them knowledge and all those things. Go to homeopathy, let us say. Homeopathy is another very good form of treatment. Whenever you go to a homeopath, they ask you, what is the food that you like? Whether you like it warm or cold? How do you sleep? Brief history is given. And finally, they ascertain what are the chemical imbalances is there in the body according to the characteristics or character the person symbolifies or acts in his day-to-day life. Now, the most important thing, and they give the treatment according to the extracts taken from various sources, the concentrated extract taken from various sources, and administered in the sugary tablets for the disease to overcome. Now, it's a very good form of treatment as well. Now, let us say, how does these chemical imbalances happen? For example, in a house, if you observe, there are 6 members. One is having diabetic. All are eating almost the same food. Situation surroundings are same. One is having diabetic, one cholesterol, one migraine, one tension, one hypertension, one total tension. If food and situations are the same, then diseases also should be same. Okay. Why is it different? This is where yoga gets into the highest of health science. The highest of health science, because we have innumerable laboratories in the body. We call them as glands. Glands. Innumerable glands are there in the body. Your food which you like, the favorite food, is kept in front of your table. You're very, very hungry. And you love that food. Nice, that fresh smell is also coming. And you're waiting for someone to eat. He's telling, I am coming, reaching. How will you feel? Or what will happen to the salivary glands in the mouth? You can see your thoughts start secreting saliva in the mouth. Likewise, when a person is having anxiety, tensions, apprehensions, fear, hurt feeling, jealousy, hatred, greed, all these has a great impact on your body, and the body starts secreting these acidic chemicals into the system.
When each of these emotions are activated,
accordingly it secretes. Whenever you are operating with more and more fear, you can see in the urine itself the color changes to yellow most. So every time you have different types of emotional eruptions or thoughts in the mind, it has a great impact on the system by these acidic chemicals getting secreted into the system. And these chemicals forms the reason for the psychosomatic diseases that we suffer. How can yoga help? This is where we need to understand it can help you, or rather give you the highest of knowledge to tackle any types of issues in day-to-day life.
Does it only tackle or does it resolve?
Resolve it. For example, like a person who is having depression. A depressed state is a person who is not able to face a difficult situation or is incapacity or inability. So continuously he is feeling this feeling of not able to tackle it. He becomes upset. He becomes depressed later on. Diabetic, cancers, if you observe, the character, sometimes we may say, no, this person doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, he doesn't have any bad activity. How can he get cancer? You just observe the characteristics of the person. You can see he will be a person not much expressing himself. He will be always eating himself. Any problem is there, he starts to take it inside him. When you're taking everything inside you, what happens? It's like eating yourself. So chemicals are secreted. So your cell starts destroying yourself. So cancer is nothing but that. So different types. Thyroid. There's no full cure in this modern, because we do not go to the source of the disease. Thyroid is curable in yoga, because how does thyroid malfunctionings happen? One of the major gland is the thyroid gland. We call it as the Vishuddhi Chakra. Visha Shuddhi Chakra. Whenever Visha or poison is there, the purification happens also here. The chakra that purifies. Now, this thyroid gland gets all the signals or information for action from the pituitary gland situated in the brain. Now, whenever your brain is disturbed by anxiety, apprehensions, hurt, or all these emotions of the mind, the brain wave pattern of functioning becomes erratic, disturbed. These disturbances are given simultaneously, passed on to the thyroid gland, which creates imbalances in the thyroid gland. So the metabolism all goes into problem. This malfunctioning can be rectified in the modern treatment by the medicines that we give. But in yoga, when you relax the mind here, his creation of these disturbances itself is stopped. So the source of the disease is stopped. Now, tackling the imbalances can be done, yes, with the modern medicine that the person is continuing, he has to continue again for some more time. So, along with yogic treatment, we can give them the breathings, the asanas or postures which can help it to bring in balance, with mental treatments like meditations, and also help him to tackle the issue in a much more dignified management pattern. The person comes back to health, he doesn't go, the source of the disease is also stopped. Then you have a complete cure for the treatment. So this is why I am telling you, whenever you know how to tackle an issue, because life is always, we have all the problems. We cannot say life can be a bed of roses. There are so many problems which we face in day-to-day life. Now, without problems, can anyone solve any issue?
Never.
Never. Problems are basically the solutions for you to achieve everything. Sometimes problems can be external, sometimes problems can be internal. What are these external problems? For example, I am feeling hungry. Here the solution is, I have to get food from external, outside. So your solution is outside. For some problems, solution is inside. This is where we have problems. I'll tell you now. For example, I do not have a job. So I should get a job. So I get a job. Now I am happy. All the tensions I was having, I got a job. Now my problem should be solved. But here the problem doesn't solve, because now I think, if the place where I am staying is close to the company, then I will be more happy. So he goes again to the place, finds a place somewhere close to the company. After staying there for some time, he thinks people all start coming to his house and all disturbance, so he's not getting the freedom. Now the problem is staying there also becomes a problem. Now he wants to go to some other place where, see, here the person is in problem. He's not able to tackle or accept certain situations. So the problem is he himself here. There, if you know how to tackle, you will not have the problem. So basically yoga is nothing but a higher management principles in life.
It catches the ulbhava.
Ulbhava, the source. See, let us say even today we have all the management schools, universities teaching all these things. Yeah. Now you take your own body is like a big company. A very big company. Here, this company has a managing director, chairman and the board of directors, different departments, different support system, everything. Now, how can yogic management principles help to manage yourself? Thereby, when you manage yourself, you can manage any company in the world.
Once you manage yourself, you can manage any company.
Any company in the world. Here, what are the entities? One is, the managing director is one of the key person, who executes, perceives, understands, and does everything for the benefit of the company. This managing director in a human mind, in a human personality, is his mind. Mind. Mind, if you observe, is something, it is the mind that manages everything. But here, the mind has to work in correlation with the chairman and the board. Who is the chairman and the board? If your deeper inner consciousness, which is always there as a guiding principle to ensure the well-being of the company. Because they have a higher objective in the company. But the managing director is a very smart guy. He only wants to achieve his things, let us say. So he is habitually conditioned to so many things. So he manipulates it in such a way that he finally achieves its objective using the other principles working below him, that is the body organs, to achieve his objective. So I like to smoke. I've been conditioned to this. So I use my body to feel. See, here the mind doesn't suffer. Mind is enjoying the smoke. But the body is suffering. Your inner consciousness also, the chairman and board tells, it's not good for health. But mind temporarily ratifies and he continues. You understand what I'm saying? So the moment the managing director, the mind, is able to understand the importance of it on health respect, mind always operates with a like and a dislikes. I like to do, I like it, I do it. From within it says it's not good for you. But you go on doing it because you are conditioned to do. So a person who drinks, how much ever he is having health issues, even the kidney is already gone, liver is gone. Doctors have told him not to touch it. But still, on a given chance, he will drink again. Why? Because he has been conditioned to it. So this is where the mind has to be conditioned. But conditioned by true knowledge. And this co-relationship between your inner consciousness, mind and the body starts coordinating, then you are in beautiful yoga or union or coordination. So this imbalances is what destroys the person, the personality, the health. When a human body, a human mind or a person himself understands that he need to correlate in unison with the chairman and the board's objective, execution by the director, the mind beautifully, and giving orders to the body, automatically we say you are in yoga, in union. Because that's why if you say, when I'm saying my body, who is my and who is body? So I'm different from my body. My breath. Then what are you? Who's this my? And breath is totally different. Your breathing is different, you are different. My thoughts. So are you different from your thoughts? So who is this my and thoughts? So this my is the super inner consciousness which is always potential, dominant, and that dominance of that consciousness is prevalent as a link with the body, as a link with the breath, as a link with your thoughts, as a link to your higher intelligence or scientific blend of mind that you have gathered over your period of life, and that link being the very source of the existence of all these things. That link is called yoga, coordination, union, derived from the Sanskrit word yuj. So yoga is the coordination, but coordination in unison with the application of the entire dimensions in equal personification is yoga. Then life is a beautiful management principles. So this knowledge once inculcated into a person, he knows to manage his health, he knows to manage the best form of exercise for him, he knows how he can gain the best, whether you're doing your exercising or your cricket or your football, what best you can make your body so that you are getting the optimum output in any games. Even in your weightlifting, you can get the best optimum output. The best optimum source of energy by the right concepts of food and its heating habits. The best knowledge about the breathing, thereby current can be infused into your body because we don't have chargers to charge our body. Our body gets all the energy from your breath mainly, the power of your breath. So your energization and purification and managing your breath is what helps you to sustain, maintain, energize and gain the optimum potential of your life by learning the essence of management of breath. Also, the managing your mind, not the mind managing me. When my mind is managing me, I am habitually conditioned to so much of addictions that destroys me, weakens me, and my whole health or life is lost. Managing my understanding level by increasing more and more knowledge onto your library of brain, so that your acceptance level, if you see a person who has more and more, he has seen the world, he can accept more things because he is more knowledgeable, practically gain the experiences. So how much of a knowledge you gain, theoretically, experientially, mentally, physically, all these things broadens your outlook. And with your true nature, this my as a super consciousness sitting above gives you the best of life. See, today medical science, if you observe, 5 years, basically they are taught all the basics of anatomy, physiology, pathology, all these things. They do not go to the higher aspects of breathings or mind-related issues apart from the psychotherapy and psychiatry that they deal. They don't actually go to the implications of how a person's understanding has an impact on the lower strata of his personality. They do not go to the source which is lacking. Actually, only the lower dimension of a personality, the physical body, is dealt with in the modern medical science of treatments. Whereas the person is not only the body, the higher aspects, the breath, the mind, the understanding, and his inner consciousness is what determines the state of health. Yoga covers everything in total. That's why it is the highest of health science. Oh, this is knowledge is given to the world. People will be much happier, much healthier, much knowledgeable. They don't go to hit others, kill others, give pain to others, and solution is not by killing people. You know? So this, when it blossoms, automatically the world is beautiful. Because every person is in harmony. When I am in harmony, why should I kill others? When I think of killing others, is because I am not in harmony with myself. I am not happy within me. So I am doing certain actions to get happiness for me. It can be by killing, it can be by eating, it can be by anything according to your perception or understanding. So this knowledge is the highest for every human being to get in this world. I hope I have covered the subject to a little extent of what you wanted to really know, right?
But definitely this is the beginning, and we'll get into more details in the next episode.
Yeah.
Because we have time until now.
Fantastic.
Thank you. We'll wind up the show for the moment, and we'll definitely continue on the subject in our coming episode. Thank you very much.